Okay, so now we're going to talk about centering a combined design. I'm going to select the layer that has both of my designs on it. And we're going to go to the Move Motif icon. So I can manually position my X and Y axis, or I can go ahead and hit this one, and it will automatically center it. If I use my dials, I'm actually changing my X-axis, so it's moving this way to the right. Remember, you can just tap on the icon, puts me back, or maybe I want to do the Y and I want to go up. So the Bernina always gives you two options. You can automatically center it, or you can fine tune it. And sometimes you do need just to fine tune it, depending on how you've hooped your fabric. You'll notice that I have changed to a mega hoop here. The medium hoop or the oval hoop that I was using before was not big enough to add the second design to this. So let's do a check trace. This is essential. After you've done anything to the motif, if you're adding, resizing, moving it, always do a check. We want to make sure that this will stitch out with the hoop that we have selected. And you'll hear my hoop go. So this is obviously going to check the top left-hand corner, top right-hand corner, bottom. So I would be checking my fabric in the hoop, bottom left-hand corner, and of course this is center. Now I always like to mark my fabric, so I always know where the center is. So at this point I would check to make sure where my lines meet on my hooped fabric is in fact the center of my design. So I highly recommend that you always do this after you've made any changes to your motif. Okay, we're going to talk about virtual positioning and absolute check. Whenever you load a design on the Bernina, it will automatically be centered in your design. Now there are a couple of ways of checking to see if your motif or your design fits in your hoop. Now I do have the mega hoop on here, so if I move my design, I can move it up. My hoop doesn't move, so I don't know that it's going to actually work completely. But with the absolute check or virtual positioning, I'm going to show you the difference. Tap on your hoop, then you'll see the hoop with the butterfly. Tap on that. Let's go back. Now when I move my design, my hoop is moving. That way I will know if I go over to here, my hoop and my needle have moved. I've gotten the red box around here. So I know that that design will not work where I have it placed on my screen. So that's absolute check. Again, I'm going to deselect it. I go out of this window, and if I move my design, my hoop is not moving. So I can't really double check. It does go red, but I can't really check the position of my hoop. Going into the hoop selection, hitting the butterflies, and when I get out of it, now my hoop moves every time I move my motif. Some people like that on, some people don't. By default, your machine should have it on. And I've seen students say, why does my hoop keep moving when I move the motif? That's because the absolute check is on. Also in here, this is the center of my design. So I find that's always helpful to have on. I also always like to have my grid on. Tap once, twice, and you'll see that the grid will fill in. Now, that's a very small grid. I tend to like a grid on mine because, like I said, I always mark my fabric. That way I know that my motif is straight up and down, or if I want to turn it, it's on the proper axis.